Police trail Sudan crisis suspect to Labour House. Families seek justice after death injures in Katsina. #End bad governance protests. Bandits torch 23 homes, injure 3 in Benue. And on the foreign scene, Iran rejects Western demands to withdraw Israel's threat. Hello, welcome to News Updates on Trust TV. I am Lilian Ogazi. And now to the news. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Ebetoko, on Monday said the police are on the trail of a man who was actively involved in the Sudan crisis, but is now in Nigeria. Ebetoko spoke while responding to a question on why the police were against the hardship protest at the Youth Summit organized by the police. Ebetoko, although did not disclose his name, said the suspect was mobilizing the destabilized in the country. The IG stated that the suspect was traced to a shop he was using as a decoy, which is located within the Nigerian Labour Congress building. He denied that the raid was targeted at the NLC leadership. He also explained that the police were against the protest because of the NSAS experience. Ebetoko noted that the mobilization for the hunger protest was carried out via social media, adding that such protests had the propensity of being violence. Parents and relatives of Shafi Mtar, who was allegedly killed, as well as those wounded during Monday's hardship protest in Katsina, are demanding justice from 11th authorities. This follows allegations that their relatives were brutalized and suffered tear gas attacks and gunshot wounds allegedly fired by security operatives. In Katsina, Abdullah Yamadi visited families of both the deceased and the wounded persons and filed this report.
A few hours after President Bola Ahmed Tinubu addressed the nation on Sunday, Nigerians hit the streets in anger that the president's speech did not in any way make attempts to address their plight. In Katsina, the protesters were quickly dispersed by angry security operatives who described the protesters as a herd crowd that was out to loot and destroy public and private properties. According to reports, few minutes after dispersing the protesters, the angry security personnel turned on other residents, shooting live ammunition on harmless civilians, leading to many escaping with gunshot wounds of various degrees. Shafi Mtar was not lucky to survive as he lost his life after being shot on his way to a neighborhood where he went to eat with some of his friends. It is a moment of sorrow and grief to the family of 25-year-old Shafi Mtar, who was allegedly shot dead by suspected security operatives. Mourners and sympathizers were trooping to register their condolences when Trust TV News crew visited. Family members and relatives of Shafiu are in pains over the unfortunate killing of their loved one who just completed his secondary education and was contributing towards sustaining the family. Muktar Muhammad, the father of the deceased, described the killing of his son as the result of a high level of unprofessionalism by the security operatives and demanded the investigation and prosecution of the perpetrators. The mother of the deceased could not hold back her emotions, saying she left the killers of her son in the hands of God, who is the Almighty Judge. The killers of my innocent son have done their worst. I want to passionately appeal to Governor Dikko Umaru Rada and all relevant authorities to investigate the killing with a view to bringing the perpetrators to book. Shafiu's killing left a huge vacuum here, which will further exacerbate hardship being experienced by this family. In December, a pregnant woman lost her life following the tear gas she inhaled, which was allegedly fired inside her matrimonial home while in labor, according to reports. Some of the survivors are currently receiving medical attention at hospitals, while some with minor gunshot wounds have been discharged. I am innocent because I was standing about 500 meters away from the roadside, right inside our community. Someone shot me on my leg. I was rushed to a hospital. There, I saw over 10 casualties. I saw medical personnel crying over this brutality. I thank God I am still alive. I was by the gate of our house trying to lock it. I couldn't run because my eyes were hurting due to the tear gas that was fired into our houses. I believe it was at that moment a security personnel fired a shot on my hand. I am really and seriously in a severe pains. However, public commentators are lamenting the unfortunate killing and the number of casualties recorded during the protest, calling on the relevant authorities to investigate and prosecute those responsible to serve as deterrents. As at press time, neither the government nor security agencies have issued any statement on the incident. Abdullahi Izumayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Now moving on to Kano State, where police have arrested 873 suspects linked to the destruction and looting of public property during recent hunger protests across the state. Addressing a press conference, State Police Commissioner Salman Dogo disclosed that a significant cache of dangerous weapons was recovered from the suspects during operations conducted from August 1st to 10th, 2024. Trust TV's correspondent Idris Jibrin reports that several other suspects have since been prosecuted. Here's the report.
What began as a peaceful demonstration to protest the soaring cost of living in Nigeria quickly spiraled into chaos, leading to widespread violence, destruction and looting of public property across Kano State.
In line with the directive of the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Adeolu Egbetokun, PhD MPM, to all the commands and formation for ensuring professionalism and provisions of police service that is rule of law compliant. The Kano State Police Command has worked diligently and professionally towards addressing the aftermath of this event.
In the aftermath of the protest, police have prosecuted 600 suspects for various offenses, including 150 for violating the curfew. A significant number of dangerous weapons were also recovered.
Arrest of an additional 6 suspects linked with mastermind destruction, setting ablaze, and looting of Kano Printing Press, KPP, are undergoing investigations. 4. Arrest and transfer of 76 suspects flying Russian flags, including foreigners, to Force Headquarters, Abuja, for district investigation on charge of seditions. Arrest of 41 suspects for other major crimes, including armed robbery, kidnapping, car theft.
Among the suspects are 2 armed robbers caught with 10 million naira and 2 AK-47 rifles. Several others have also been arrested in connection with various crimes committed across the state.
The 2 AK-47s were recovered, and the amount of money that was robbed in the neighboring village before the reports were recovered. The sum of 15 million naira was robbed, and about 10 million naira were recovered immediately after the arrest.
Despite the challenges posed by the protest, the police remain resolute in their commitment to protecting the lives and properties of all residents in Kano State. Idris Jubrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
Governor Uba Sani of Kaduna State has lifted the 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. curfew, imposing the state to checkmate the breakdown of law and order during the End Bad Governance protest. Now, in a statement, overseeing Commissioner Ministry of Internal Security and Home Affairs Samuel Arwan said the removal is effective from Tuesday. He explained that with this development, law-abiding citizens are free to move and engage in legitimate activities in Kaduna and Zaria towns with no restrictions. He said the State Security Council, during the extensive assessment held last night, unanimously recommended the removal of the curfew and reiterated its commitment to the security and safety of the citizenry in the state. The Security Council also warned that processions or gatherings must be verified with the relevant agencies to avoid any breakdown of law and order. Arwan said the council further disclosed that security forces will continue to be on the lookout for threats to public peace and will prosecute persons or groups posing such threats. The governor assured critical stakeholders of his inclusive and participatory stance, adding that he would continue to engage them towards ensuring the peace, unity, and development of the state. Moving over to Niger State, where the government has approved 15 million naira compensation for the families of victims of the collapsed mining pit in Galadima-Kogo, Shiroro local government area. The secretary to the Niger State government, Abubakar Gawu, disclosed this on Monday. Families of the victims had last week demanded compensation, threatening to take legal action against the state government and owners of the collapsed mine, African Minerals and Logistics Limited. The mine pit collapsed in June following a heavy downpour with scores of miners trapped. As of last week, 14 bodies had been recovered from the mining pit. The SSG added that the state government had inaugurated a 13-man committee to oversee the disbursement of funds to the victims' families. A man and his 2-year-old son have died in a building collapse in Jigawa State. Officials of Buji local government area of Jigawa State on Monday confirmed the death of a 30-year-old man alongside son in Madabe village. The council's information officer, Aliyu Safianu, who confirmed the tragedy to newsmen in Dutse on Monday, said the 25-year-old mother of the boy survived the tragic incident. According to Aliyu, the mother is responding to treatment at an undisclosed hospital, explaining that the downpour on Sunday night led to the collapse of the building. The spokesman for the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps in the state, Badaruddin Tijani, also confirmed the incidents. Floods had wreaked havoc between Thursday and Sunday in some villages in the area, displacing about 400 households and destroying about 1,000 buildings. Meanwhile, the State Management Emergency Agency has distributed relief items to the displaced person encamped in one of the schools in the area. Now moving on, bandits suspected to be armed herders in a renewed attack on Sunday burned down 23 houses in Eguama community in Agatu local government area of Benin State. The chairman of the local government, Philip Ebenyaku, disclosed this on Monday, adding that 3 people with gunshot wounds were receiving treatment at an undisclosed hospital. He said armed herders have consistently invaded the Agatu West from Kogi State, and according to him, the area shares a boundary with Kogi State and is always vulnerable to attacks. The council boss commended security operatives deployed to the local government for responding to the distress call to arrest and confiscate a machine boat from invaders who usually attack the area from Nasarawa State. The Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria has threatened to cripple the activities of states that refuse to implement the 70,000 naira new national minimum wage. President of the association, Sheikh Mohammed, issued the threat Monday during the association's 5th quadrennial delegates conference in Lagos, where he emerged as the new president. He urged state government to implement the new wage to improve the standard of living of their citizens, since the income of state government have continued to rise following enhanced allocation from the Federal Account Allocation Committee, FAC. Mohammed urged that states could achieve this by reducing wastages and blocking leakages of government funds, advising states to embrace the policy of indexing income to correspond with the rate of inflation. Civil servants engaged in farming activities in Bauchi State have continued to lament the lack of subsidized fertilizer after the state government declared 2 days as work-free days to improve food security in the state. They stated this rather amidst the effects of climate change that may have affected the 2024 rainfall pattern and its attendant impact on agricultural produce. Trust TV's Adamu Imam reports.
Since the announcement of 2 days of no work for civil servants from level 1 to 12 by the state government, farmers were excited as the reason that the development will help farmers to easily access fertilizer loans. The government made the announcement during a media briefing after the State Executive Council meeting last week.
So in furtherance of that, we recommended that civil servants, both at the state and the local governments, this is a food security issue. So we are not mindful of any other encumbrance, but certainly it is a food security issue and it affects everybody. So Council has approved that from tomorrow that I'm going to issue a circular, civil servants in both state, both at the state and local government level, will be free to go to farm from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Meanwhile, some interested farmers have been seeking alternative ways of addressing the fertilizer issue. Up to this moment that I'm talking to you, there is no any sign of receiving fertilizer from the state government as fertilizer loan. And they granted civil servants 2 work-free days to enable us concentrate on our farm. Meanwhile, no information about where and how to get the fertilizer has been shared. We are still appealing to the government to look at our farms and come to our aid. Yes, it is true that we are yet to receive the government fertilizer. It is sad that even after launching the sales of the commodity, we still buy in the markets. Since the one for workers' loan is no longer feasible, then we resorted to other ways, and that are not the best. Because if really they want to help workers, then they would have released the fertilizer as early as April or beginning of May. If not, there is a big problem when it comes late to farmers. Governor Bala's move really excited us because we, the junior workers, we have the opportunity to visit our farms in good time so that we supervise what is going on and see where to improve. And now we will have time for rainy season, though we can't conclude because everything can change all of a sudden. The state government had earlier launched the sales of NPK fertilizer in the local government area at the rate of 20,000 naira per bag last month, and also exhibited some modern tractors, food processing equipment, and machines to encourage mechanized farming in the state. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
This is news update coming to you from Trust TV. Coming up, stakeholders re-echo support for dismantling neocolonialism as part of a global agenda. This and more when we return. Do stay. You are welcome back. If you just joined us, this is news update coming to you from Trust TV. Let's take a look at our headline stories again. Police trail Sudan crisis suspect to Labour House. Family seeks justice after death, injuries in Katsina and bad governance protest. Now moving on. Troops of the 5th Battalion Nigerian Army have intensified operations against illegal refining in Rivers State, arresting 8 suspects and seizing over 2,000 liters of condensates. The arrests were made along the Orashi River in Ogbaegbe Mandani local government area, where the suspects were found transporting the illegal products on motorcycles. In a statement on Monday by the acting Deputy Director of 6th Division Army Public Relations, Lieutenant Colonel Danjuma Jonah, the operations are part of a broader effort to curb illegal bunkering and environmental degradation in the Niger Delta region. Lieutenant Colonel Danjuma further stated that in a related operation, troops of the 63 Brigade Nigerian Army, supported by other security agencies, dismantled illegal refining sites along the fringes of the River Niger near Ndokwa East and Ndoni local governments in Delta and River States. The Nigerian Army urged residents of the affected communities to report any criminal activities to the security agencies, stressing the significant environmental hazard posed by illegal operations. Colonialism, a system of domination in which one nation controls and exploits another territory and its people, has left an indelible mark on the global history. The former end of colonialism, marked by the wave of decolonizers in the mid-20th century, saw many youths in Africa, Asia, and the Caribbean achieve political independence. However, the legacy of colonialism persists in various forms, and the struggle to end its influence continues, with many countries calling for an end to colonial rule ahead of the 2030 UN deadline. Trust TV's Dorcas Yakubu completes the report.
The history of colonialism is extensive and complex, spanning several centuries and involving many regions across the world. The legacy of colonialism is evident in the political, economic, and social structures of former colonies. The arbitrary borders drawn by colonial powers have often resulted in ethnic conflicts and political instability. Many former colonies continue to grapple with underdevelopment, dependency on primary commodity exports, and debt burdens rooted in colonial exploitation. These has led to calls for decolonization.
We really have to organize to make sure that those territories still under colonial rule or not self-governing must regain their independence as soon as possible. That's the essence.
When a man is enslaved, it's a problem because he's owned by another human being. So when a country is enslaved by another country, it's also a problem. So agitations can never end unless people determine what they will do.
If we have a vision of a united world, that unity that can only happen if we are all equal, if we act in equality. And that's not the imperialism, and the colonies is a system that opposed to that equality that we're fighting for, that we're looking for.
Colonialism has left a legacy of racial and cultural hierarchies that continue to affect national identities and social cohesion. Despite the pervasive influence of neocolonialism, stakeholders say there's a growing need to resist and challenge this domination.
So in a society, in a world where we want more development, we want to have less hunger, we want a place where people can live in peace and happily together. It is extremely important that people are no longer dominated and oppressed, and in many cases violently so, which has been the process of colonialism that we know to date.
The struggle for true independence and self-determination continues as formerly colonized nations seek to overcome the legacy of colonialism and assert their place in the global order. Bringing an end to colonialism in the world involves addressing both the remnants of traditional colonial practices and the more insidious forms of neocolonialism that have emerged in the post-colonial era. Dorcas Yakubu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now away from Nigeria, Iran on Tuesday rejected Western calls to stand down its threat to retaliate against Israel for the killing of Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran late last month. Iran and its allies have blamed Israel for the killing of Haniyeh as he visited Tehran on July 31st for the swearing-in of President Masoud Pezeshkian. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Nasser Kanani said in a statement, the declaration by France, Germany and Britain, which raises no objection to the international crimes of the Zionist regime, brazenly asked Iran to take no deterrent action against a regime which has violated its sovereignty and territorial integrity. Now, in a statement on Monday, the United States and European allies called on Iran to stand down. Western diplomats have scrambled to avert a major conflagration in the Middle East, where tensions were already high due to the Israel-Hamas war in Gaza. Israel is yet to comment on the matter. Now in sports, former middleweight champion Israel Adesanya has revealed that beating Darcius du Plessis in the upcoming bout at UFC 305 holds greater significance for him than reclaiming the UFC title. Adesanya, who has been out of the octagon for nearly a year, is set to face the South African on August 17 in Perth, Australia, in a fight that has become deeply personal for the Nigerian-born fighter. The rivalry between Adesanya and du Plessis has intensified over the years, with both fighters exchanging heated words on multiple occasions. The animosity stems from a debate over who can rightfully claim the title of true African champion, a narrative that has added an extra layer of intensity to their upcoming clash. With that, we've come to the end of News Update here on Trust TV. Follow us across all our social media platforms for more news, programs, and documentaries. Thanks for watching. I am Lilian Ogazi. Bye for now.